Hey, welcome 8th graders. This is Mr. Stromberger. So for our virtual field trips, I kind of wanted to highlight some natural features of Wisconsin that are really close to us living in Green Bay. And a really cool spot to check out some of the cool geology and rock formations that are close to us is here in Bayshore County Park. So it's a Brown County Park. It's if your parents drive north up the Door County Peninsula, up Highway 54, 57, it is a little bit past Denmark exit. So pretty easy to find if you just Google it, okay? But it's a really cool park. You know, you can come and camp here actually. A lot of people come boating out here. There's a really cool, you know, when COVID is over, there's actually a cool playground on the park. But the really neat thing is down the hill is this really cool beach. Now, there's a hill there because there's a big cliff that kind of runs along Green Bay, the shores of Green Bay. And that cliff is what we're here for today, okay? So I'll explain a little bit more later on, but come along and we'll check it out. Hey, welcome back 8th graders. Mr. Stromberger here. So we are at Bayshore County Park and we are about to go on this cool hiking trail that is going to showcase a lot of the geology features here in the park, okay? Brought my kids along with me, you know, COVID, good quality family COVID time. Can you say hi, Adriana?
Hi.
Augie, you want to say hi?
Hi.
So, anyhow, as you can see behind me, there is a really cool cliff rock wall, okay? And you have to be careful because you can slide down the embankment here, okay? Like Augie just kind of figured out the hard way. You need to be careful, bud. All right? So, that being said, this trail is, you need to be a little careful when you're hiking around. There's a sign that said that, you know, dangerous conditions do exist, all right? So, anyhow, the reason dangerous conditions exist is because there's this big cliff. Now, a cliff is also called an escarpment, all right? Now, this whole cliff wall is actually, it has a name, and you can find it all throughout Door County and down by High Cliff State Park where we were, where we took a video earlier, and that you will see, I don't know, maybe before or after this one. Who knows what order we're gonna put them in. But, and it is called the Niagara Escarpment, right? So Niagara kind of comes from Niagara Falls and then New York, Niagara Falls area. And literally this cliff runs all the way from Niagara Falls around New York and Canada area, all the way around the top of the Great Lakes through Canada, on top of Lake Huron, on top of Lake Michigan, and it comes down right through Door County where we are today, okay? Super long. It's like, you know, over 1,000 miles of this cliff. Now, this cliff is the same exact rock that runs down to High Cliff State Park, and it kind of stops right there. Well, it doesn't really stop. This rock exists, but it's kind of underground because when the glaciers came through 10,000 years ago, they, you know, even before that, even up to 30,000 years ago, they pushed all of this dirt and rock and stuff down toward it, okay? So, hey, there's some people coming. Don't want to hog the trail. I'll tell you more about it in a minute. All right, we're walking along this trail. Super cool. The cliff is right above us. And this is kind of neat, right? It kind of drops off pretty steep over there. But literally the cliff right now is probably a good 20 feet above our head. But it gets way bigger the farther you go down to the beach at Green Bay. All right, we're gonna keep on walking and I'll tell you more about this rock formation here in a minute. All right, hey 8th graders. Walking along this trail and we saw this super cool thing. So there is the top of the cliff. And as you can see, you know, there's the rock, the part of the cliff here, part of the cliff here, okay? But then there's this rock here in the middle that that my daughter's showcasing that looks super different. It looks very different from all the rock around it. And I want you to think about how this completely different rock got to the side of this cliff a long time ago. Hey 8th graders. So we've talked about in these videos how these rocks were made. You know, these rocks literally came from a lot of dead sea animals about 415 million years ago, right? Right? Now, because there was an ancient sea that covered all of this. It was a shallow ocean, about 100 to 200 feet deep, right? So all of those little dead sea creatures would accumulate, and then under pressure of things on top of them over time, they would get squeezed together and form the sedimentary rock over sediments, right? And they break into little pieces and form that sedimentary rock of limestone or dolostone here in this case. Dolostone is a form of limestone. It's just, it's kind of altered a little bit with different minerals like magnesiums and salts and stuff like that. But one cool thing I wanted to point out is here along this hiking trail at Bayshore County Park is there is evidence of all of those little tiny sea creatures. Now remember, some of those sea creatures were crushed, but some of them were cemented in all that those smaller particles and formed fossils, okay? Now this rock right here, I know it's really hard to see in the video, but it's got these empty little spaces where these little shelled animals were kind of, oh, and there's kind of like a line that kind of looks like maybe some kind of old ancient sea worm. But there's impressions. Whoa, there's a big spider. Holy cow. That was exciting. So remember, a little sidebar, when you hit a spider's web, it thinks that there's an insect in the web and it's like, oh, lunchtime. It's kind of like ringing the lunch bell. Lunchtime, ding, 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 ding. So I touched its web and it thought that dinner was ready. Well, I do not want to, my finger does not want to be its dinner. Right, kids? No way. So, no, get your finger out of there. But I just kind of wanted to highlight that, I mean, literally, you are looking at animals that were alive, like the remains of animals that were alive over 400 million years ago, right? It's just kind of crazy to wrap your head around that. But hey, you're seeing the evidence right here. Okay, we're gonna keep on checking out the trail and talk more about all these cool, it's about 20 feet, 30 feet of cliff above my head. Cool features here at Bayshore County Park. Hey, welcome back 8th graders. Hey, came across this really cool spot. So obviously they wanted stairs to be here fully, but through erosion of the water continuing to chip away at this rock, the stairs went away. So you do have to be careful on this hike. But we've come down the stairs, but the cliff is still here. Now we're looking at about 50 feet of cliff above our head. And one kind of cool thing I wanted to point out too is I don't know if you can see it, but there is a tree literally growing out of the side of the cliff. And there is not much topsoil for it to grab nutrients from, right? But this tree, it is called an eastern white cedar. Now these eastern white cedars are really cool, and holy cow, a red-tailed hawk just flew overhead. Yeah, do you see that? Where did they go? Oh, that was cool. But this tree right here, it might not look very big, but it is very old. Eastern white cedars, they grow super, super slow. And I would estimate this tree to be probably around 500 to 600 years old. And remember, this cliff, the tree has been here for that long, but through erosion and water and wind kind of still chipping away at that rock and moving pieces away, it has, slowly started to chip that rock out from under the tree. So eventually this tree is going to fall over, which is going to be a shame, but it's just kind of a cool thing to point out to you guys. All right. Just walking the trail, checking it out. Super cool formations.
There's a huge...
What do you see?
A huge crack.
A huge crack?
There's even...
Whoa, you are right.
Oh!
And look, another eastern white cedar growing out of the rock. That one's smaller, probably around 300 years old. But when we talk about fracturing and shifting of rock, erosion, it's going to, the weathering part of water getting into these cracks, freezing and ice in the wintertime, breaking that rock apart, right? It's going to create these big cracks in the dolostone. And here's another one right here. Yeah, Augie, you pointed that out. Good job, bud.
Whoa.
So if you can see the scale of my kids compared to this huge cliff face and this big crack, eventually weathering is going to split this rock completely off and fall down the trail. Okay? All right, we're gonna keep checking stuff out. Hey, welcome back, 8th graders. So we're kind of at the end of the trail. Remember, this trail, it kind of starts near the campground, and it actually goes all the way along the cliff face up to this staircase, natural staircase. There's a little concrete in there to make it flat, but up to the playground area. So, cool thing though, I mean, this was a natural split, and the park, the county just kind of took advantage of this to make that staircase. But anyway, but all this rock here is present for one reason. These are all a bunch of dead little marine animals, because this whole area was covered in that ancient sea, and it was about 100 to 200 feet in depth, right? So once those animals died, they would kind of fall down to the bottom of the sea floor, and they would accumulate and kind of stack on top and make these different levels or layers, right? So, and some of them are thicker than others. But the really cool thing about this whole process is, now the United States wasn't in our present day location 430 million years ago, when all of these marine animals started kind of stacking on top of each other and creating the sedimentary rock of dolostone right here. It was actually about 30 degrees south of the equator. So literally, present day forms, if you think of the planet, Wisconsin would be located somewhere around like Brazil, okay? in like that tropical rainforest environment, but it's all underwater, okay? So that environment was just this warm, just kind of, you know, I mean, there were abundance of corals and bryozoans and, you know, just all kinds of these calcium carbonated shelled animals, right? And they would leach out different sediments from, you know, from all that calcium and magnesium and all those minerals would accumulate at the bottom and create this rock, okay? All right, hey, welcome back, 8th graders. So we made it down to the beach. Super cool down here. Like, there's all kinds of ground up limestone, that dolostone that makes up the Niagara Escarpment cliff. But then you can find some cool stuff like this. Like, there's a willow tree in the lake, and it's just a really cool thing to check out, you know? But also, if you kind of look on the shoreline, there are all kinds of different other rocks from further west in Wisconsin that were kind of brought down here by glaciers, okay? I'm seeing a lot of basalt, which is black lava rock. I'm seeing granite, which is like an igneous rock formed from inside the earth. You know, so there's lots of cool stuff to come out here and check out. All right, hey, we're gonna keep exploring.